Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Gates channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Now, let's jump straight into today's exciting update. Ted Hamilton's emotions are about to be pulled in every possible direction, and by the time the day is over, nothing in Fairmont Crest will feel quite the same. Every conversation threatens to reopen old wounds. Every unexpected encounter carries the weight of unfinished history, and every decision has the power to reshape relationships that have already been stretched to their breaking point. As long-buried emotions rise back to the surface, another shocking Dupree surprise begins to unfold, while an explosive confrontation sends fresh waves of tension through the community. What begins as an ordinary day quickly transforms into an emotional battlefield where love, regret, jealousy, and hope collide in ways no one could have anticipated. By the time the dust finally settles, several lives will have been changed, and the consequences of these deeply personal moments will continue to echo throughout Fairmont Crest long after the day has ended. At the center of the storm is Ted, whose patience is about to face one of its greatest tests yet. Looking forward to spending meaningful, uninterrupted time with his daughter, Ted hopes for a rare moment of peace, a chance to focus on family without distractions or painful reminders of the past. But that hope is shattered almost immediately when Leslie unexpectedly appears, inserting herself into what should have been a special father-daughter moment. Her arrival instantly changes the atmosphere, replacing warmth with discomfort and calm with simmering frustration. The history between Ted and Leslie remains impossible to ignore, and every word exchanged between them carries years of emotional baggage that neither one has truly escaped. Instead of allowing Ted the family time he desperately wants, Leslie's interruption forces him to confront a chapter of his life he would much rather leave behind. The weekly preview hints that Leslie, portrayed by 2026 Daytime Emmy Outstanding Supporting Actress nominee Trisha Mann Grant, approaches the encounter with surprising confidence. Rather than keeping her distance, she appears determined to settle herself comfortably into Ted's personal space, behaving as though the complicated history between them has somehow become insignificant. Whether she believes a playful attitude will soften Ted's resistance or simply enjoys provoking him remains unclear, but one thing is immediately obvious. Ted has absolutely no interest in entertaining whatever game she is playing. Every attempt Leslie makes to charm or flirt only seems to deepen his irritation, creating an increasingly awkward and emotionally charged encounter. The chemistry they once shared has long since been replaced by tension, resentment, and exhaustion, leaving Ted visibly uncomfortable as Leslie continues pushing boundaries he clearly wishes she would respect. Leslie attempts to brush the situation aside by insisting that she merely became a little flirtatious with her former partner, almost as though it were an innocent misunderstanding that anyone should easily forgive. But Ted sees the interaction through an entirely different lens, and he doesn't hesitate to make that perfectly clear. Later, when he recounts the events to his daughter Eva, played by 2026 Daytime Emmy Emerging Talent nominee Amber Michelle, Ted offers an unforgettable description that perfectly captures his frustration. With equal parts sarcasm and disbelief, he remarks that Jessica Rabbit was more subtle than Leslie, making it abundantly clear just how over the top he found her behavior. The comparison paints a vivid picture, revealing not only Ted's irritation, but also his complete inability to overlook Leslie's relentless attempts to blur emotional boundaries. Beneath the humor, however, lies genuine fatigue as Ted struggles to understand why the past continues finding ways to intrude upon the life he has worked so hard to rebuild. Yet Leslie isn't the only person capable of turning Ted's world upside down. Even as he attempts to move beyond the uncomfortable encounter with his ex, another deeply personal moment begins to unfold, one that carries far greater emotional weight. Ted finds himself standing before Shanice, Garland Memorial's supervising nurse, and the woman who has slowly become one of the most important people in his life. Recently, Ted opened his heart to his nephew, Andre, admitting that his feelings for Shanice had grown far stronger than he initially expected. Those quiet confessions hinted that his emotions had reached a point where they could no longer be ignored, and now it appears the time has finally come for him to say something directly to the woman herself. Whatever words leave Ted's mouth are powerful enough to leave Shanice completely stunned, though the spoilers remain carefully silent about whether her reaction comes from overwhelming joy or unexpected heartbreak. It raises the tantalizing possibility that Ted may finally be ready to speak the three words that carry the greatest emotional risk of all, the words that could forever change the course of their relationship. As Ted wrestles with matters of the heart, another surprising development unfolds elsewhere within his family. His daughter Kat unexpectedly becomes the source of a surprise that no one sees coming, and this time one of her siblings appears destined to be involved. The mystery surrounding Kat's actions only deepens because viewers know she recently shared an important conversation with Chelsea earlier in the week. Chelsea had passionately encouraged Kat to use the Chelsea Cat social media platform to tell her inspiring transplant story, believing it could educate others and encourage more conversations about organ donation. She even imagined a heartfelt collaboration between Kat and Eva, hoping the sisters could stand together and share their experiences in a way that would touch countless lives. But Kat wasn't interested. She politely rejected the idea, making it clear that revisiting such a personal chapter wasn't something she wanted to do publicly. Even so, Kat didn't completely close the door on Chelsea's vision. Recognizing the importance of raising awareness, she instead gave Chelsea permission to approach Ava with a different proposal. Rather than involving Kat, Eva could potentially take over the Chelsea Cat platform on her own, using it to educate viewers about organ transplants while shining a much-needed spotlight on the issue within the Black community. It was a thoughtful compromise that reflected Kat's desire to help without placing herself at the center of attention. Now, with spoilers teasing an unexpected surprise from Kat involving one of her siblings, viewers are left wondering whether she has quietly reconsidered her position. Could this surprising gesture somehow involve Ava, after all, signaling a beautiful step toward healing and unity between the sisters? Or does the surprise instead center on Martin, especially now that he and Kat have finally apologized to each other, opening the door to a long overdue moment of forgiveness and renewed family connection? Either possibility promises an emotionally meaningful development capable of bringing warmth to a day otherwise dominated by conflict. Of course, no day in Fairmont Crest would be complete without another explosive clash between two women whose rivalry refuses to cool. Danny, portrayed by 2026 Daytime Emmy lead actress nominee Carla Mosley, and Haley have already exchanged sharp words during an earlier confrontation inside Bill's hospital room. That tense encounter proved their animosity remains very much alive, but it was merely the opening act. According to the weekly spoilers, the two women are preparing to collide once again, and this second confrontation promises to be even more emotionally charged than the first. Every unresolved feeling, every buried resentment, and every lingering insecurity threatens to rise to the surface as they face each other once more. The weekly preview wastes no time revealing exactly how Danny intends to approach the showdown. Rather than holding back, she deliberately targets Haley's deepest insecurities with carefully chosen words designed to hit where they hurt the most. Calmly but confidently, Danny reminds her rival that although Haley may currently have Bill by her side, there is one thing she will never truly possess: his complete heart. Danny boldly declares that Bill, portrayed by 2026 Daytime Emmy supporting actor nominee Timon Kyle Durrett, will never fully get over the woman who came before. Those words land like emotional thunder, challenging not only Haley's confidence, but the very foundation of her marriage. It is a devastating psychological strike, one capable of reopening every doubt Haley has tried so desperately to bury beneath the surface. With emotions already running dangerously high, Friday's confrontation between Bill's first wife and his trophy wife seems destined to become one of the day's most unforgettable moments. The question is no longer whether another battle will erupt, but just how intense that battle will become once the first verbal blow is delivered. Will both women somehow manage to keep their emotions under control, turning the encounter into a tense but measured exchange of cutting remarks? Or will the overwhelming pain, jealousy, pride, and unresolved history finally explode into an all-out emotional war that neither woman can stop? As Fairmont Crest braces for another unforgettable chapter filled with shocking surprises, vulnerable confessions, family twists, and fierce rivalries, every storyline seems poised to collide in spectacular fashion, ensuring that no one emerges from this emotionally charged day unchanged. As the tension spreads through Fairmont Crest, the emotional aftermath of these confrontations begins to ripple through every corner of the community. Ted, still carrying the frustration of Leslie's intrusion, finds himself unable to shake the feeling that the past is tightening its grip on him again. The sarcastic remark he made to Eva about Leslie being less subtle than Jessica Rabbit may have earned a brief laugh, but beneath that humor lies a man who is exhausted by the constant emotional tug of war. Every encounter with Leslie seems to drag him backward, forcing him to revisit memories he has spent years trying to leave behind. Yet even in the middle of that frustration, his thoughts keep drifting back to Shanice. The realization that his feelings for her have become impossible to deny hangs over him like a storm cloud, and the closer he gets to speaking the truth aloud, the more vulnerable he feels. When Ted finally stands before Shanice, the moment carries a quiet intensity that feels worlds away from the chaos surrounding him. The noise of the hospital corridors fades into the background as he searches for the courage to say what has been building inside him for so long. Shanice watches him carefully, sensing that something important is coming, and the uncertainty in her eyes only makes the moment feel heavier. Ted's voice is steady, but the emotion underneath it is unmistakable. He admits that what began as admiration and comfort has grown into something far deeper, something he can no longer pretend is casual or temporary. The confession lands with such force that Shanice is left completely stunned, caught between surprise and the overwhelming realization that Ted is placing his heart in her hands. For a long beat, neither of them seems able to move. Shanice's expression shifts through a whirlwind of emotions as she processes what she has just heard. This is not a passing attraction or a polite declaration made in the heat of the moment. Ted is revealing the depth of his feelings, exposing a part of himself that he has guarded carefully since the collapse of his marriage and the endless complications that followed. The vulnerability in his eyes makes it impossible to dismiss the sincerity of his words. Whether Shanice responds with joy, hesitation, or fear remains uncertain, but the air between them changes completely, charged with the possibility that their relationship is about to cross a line from which there is no turning back. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the Dupree family orbit, Kat wrestles with emotions of her own. Her earlier refusal to share her transplant journey publicly had come from a place of exhaustion and self-protection, not indifference. The experience changed her life in ways that still feel deeply personal, and the thought of reliving it in front of thousands of followers felt overwhelming, yet Chelsea's passionate plea has lingered in her mind, especially the idea that their story could help others understand the importance of organ donation. As Kat reflects on everything she and Eva have survived, a new perspective begins to emerge. Maybe sharing their journey is not about reopening old wounds, but about turning those painful experiences into something that could save lives. That realization may be the spark behind the surprise that catches everyone off guard. Instead of withdrawing from the conversation, Kat makes an unexpected move that leaves her family stunned. Whether she reaches out to Eva directly or takes a step toward collaborating with Chelsea, the gesture carries enormous emotional weight because it comes from a place of genuine healing. The distance that once existed between Kat and Eva suddenly feels a little smaller, replaced by the possibility of sisterhood, understanding, and shared purpose. And if Martin is part of this surprise, then the moment becomes even more powerful because their recent apologies have already cracked open the door to reconciliation. For the first time in a long while, the Dupree siblings seem to be moving toward each other instead of pulling apart. But just as one family begins to find a glimmer of hope, another battle erupts with renewed fury. Danny and Haley's rivalry refuses to stay buried, and when they come face to face again, the atmosphere turns electric. Danny enters the confrontation with the confidence of someone who knows exactly where to strike. She refuses to let Haley settle comfortably into the belief that marrying Bill erased the history they shared. With calm precision, Danny reminds her rival that some bonds do not disappear simply because papers are signed and vows are exchanged. Her words are sharp, deliberate, and impossible to ignore, and each sentence seems designed to chip away at Haley's carefully maintained confidence. Haley tries to hold her ground, but Danny's accusations hit far too close to the truth. The reminder that Bill may never fully get over his first wife stirs every insecurity Haley has fought to suppress. The tension between them builds with breathtaking speed, transforming a verbal sparring match into something far more dangerous. Their voices rise, their emotions spill over, and the fragile restraint that kept their earlier hospital room confrontation from exploding begins to crumble. Around them, the air feels thick with resentment, jealousy, heartbreak, and pride. This is no longer just a disagreement between two women. It is a collision between the past and the present, between the life Bill once had and the life he is trying to build now. As Friday's drama reaches its boiling point, Fairmont Crest becomes a town suspended between love and conflict, healing and heartbreak. Ted stands on the edge of a life-changing romantic confession while still battling the shadows of his past with Leslie. Kat's surprising decision hints at a new chapter of unity and purpose within the Dupree family, and Danny and Haley's fierce showdown threatens to leave emotional scars that neither woman will easily forget. Every storyline is moving toward a turning point, every relationship is being tested, and every character is being forced to confront truths they can no longer avoid. By the end of this unforgettable day, the emotional landscape of Fairmont Crest may look very different because some confessions cannot be taken back, some wounds cannot stay hidden, and some battles are destined to change everything.